1, 2, 1, 2, drop, good, well done, good, slide, first time, open the body up.
You just get the feeling that he's got it, or is it more
straight
than
away
that?
within say 5 minutes I knew straight away.
Hopper, I want to talk to you about Chido Obi Martin, who you were coaching this week. Obviously, probably the most well-known academy player in Europe at the moment in terms of United got him from Arsenal. He's been an absolute goal-scoring machine. I think he's now broken the record for the most goals ever scored in under-18s football in Britain, I think, or certainly in England. You were coaching him one-on-one, trying to take him to that next level. I've got loads of questions, but initially, what was it like working with him? What struck you immediately about him as a player?
Again, it was a pleasure meeting him and working with him. Fantastic potential. First thing that I noticed was how tall he was. Yeah. How tall he was, big, powerful. He's got absolutely everything. Potential-wise, it's through the roof. Obviously, both feet. Was working on all variations of finishing and 1v1s, and we just, again, no stone left unturned with the work that we was putting in. And really good, really nice kid. Very quiet. Very wants to work hard. He keep his head down. He understands the task at mind. And he just wants to get in that first team. He's hungry for opportunities, hungry for goals, and I think it's going to come a really good opportunity for him in the next coming months.
Can I just ask, because some people might not know what you do and how this happens, just talk us through that. How did it all come about?
So his agent reached out to myself and asked availability to work with one of his players that he's got. Didn't mention any names, just said that he's got a young talent who's at Man United who wants to have some of the RH work and come down and get the work into taking to that next level. So worked everything out, managed to get the facility, which a big shout out to Ashton United, local non-league club for allowing me to use the facilities. Fantastic club and people down there, and got the full-size goal and we got to work.
What? So he just turned 17 2 weeks ago.
Just turned 17.
So to say that already, I know obviously he's not going to grow another 2 feet, but there's still room for him to get bigger and stronger and like.
Don't know how.
How tall is he roughly? Like
made me look like a little stump.
Really?
on that, I had a photo with him like I always do at the end of the sessions, I think he's about 6'6" or 6'7" already.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, he's a big lad, big, strong, powerful. But again, when you're at that height, you would think like certain technical aspects would he struggle with, would that intensity and he was really, really sharp, really strong, and really excels in all areas.
And when you say it excels in all areas, obviously like his goal scoring, just his numbers are just ridiculous. Like 30, I think, more goals than games basically, and has done basically his whole life, and he's playing a year or two above his age, and he has done his whole career as well. Let's say career as a kid, but what was it in particular? Is it his movement? I know you're not running drills with defences and full teams, but his movement, his touch, his finishing, what is it about him that you think is sort of different to? We can never say what he's going to be as a 25-year-old, but different to kind of kids at his level, that he is like the best goal scorer in England at his level.
I think obviously we talked about it with the market stuff, his consistency.
Right.
With the scenarios that I was putting him, everything was like in areas where I feel, having looking at his game and studying his game as a coach, I felt like put him in them areas because I feel like that's where he exploits the most. So obviously I'd done my research and put him in them areas, and the attention to detail in terms of his finishing, variation of finishing, when and where to use certain techniques, fantastic. And that's on both sides as well. Obviously there was a lot of coaching, a lot of detail, but the fundamentals were certainly there in them areas. There wasn't a lot of try this or try that. That was happening, but obviously on a regular basis his decision making was very, very good.
One thing I was worried with young players is, have they got the sort of feet on the ground? Do you get a good vibe off them? Do you think they've got that level of almost maturity that you need? Because we know that most young players at United have talent. This kid has obviously been spoken about a lot. When he was at Arsenal, Arsenal fans had a meltdown when he left because he was so highly regarded. We know he's a hugely talented youngster. Do you think he has got the right sort of, and I hate using the word attitude, but I think sometimes it is appropriate. Do you think he has got that sort of mentality?
Yeah, I think he's hungry. I think he's very quiet. He started the session off very quiet and a bit of small talk and stuff, but you can tell as it grew into the session, he was coming out of his shell a lot more, obviously a lot more conversations, and I think he's hungry to develop and hungry for goals. You know, his agent was saying that's why he's here, to excel and to take him to different levels. And I think, you know, it was a cold Sunday, miserable morning in Ashton United, and the young lad just wants to come and wants to develop, and I think that speaks volumes. And I think, you know, having watched in his games, I think he's got that ruthlessness about him in terms of being forward, and that selfishness and wanting to score goals. And I think certainly in the first team we are missing that sort of ruthlessness, and yeah, I really liked his aura. I liked him as a person, but I love working with him. It was a pleasure.
It's great, and I love that there's players who are going out and doing that. And obviously, I know you don't work with everyone, but is it common? Does everyone at that level seek outside coaching, or is it something that only sort of certain individuals do? I
think it depends what type of player you are in terms of whether you want to develop or whether you're happy to. Not saying everyone's happy to be where they are and where they want to be, but you know, you've always got me as a coach. You know, I try and develop players and maximise potential. So to work with the top players and work with him and, you know, all the other Man United lads to try and out them with them game, it gives me great satisfaction. And I think, especially as a young lad who's being talked about the way he's talked about, is to go that extra mile and go and break other records, go and get into the first team very quickly, go and excel. I think that for me, is the best thing, and so rewarding to see, and it's great for me to be part of that journey now as well going forward. You know, we're working again on Sunday, and we're just going to keep working week to week and just get him firing.
When you mentioned it there, and when we've had Finn who covers the academy for us, Academy Scoop, he said that look, he wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting minutes this season in the first team. I know it's obviously early days, you've only worked with him briefly. Could you see that happening this season?
I think there's
minutes?
potential. I think for me, what I would like the manager to do is manage that though, in terms of where he puts him in terms of whether it's a cup competition or whether it's, you know, we've seen it in the past where you throw young lads in and it's maybe a bit too soon and stuff like that. But I feel like, you know, his attention to detail and his work ethic, and again, we're missing that sort of ruthlessness in front of goal. I feel like it could be very, very good timing for him over the next few months, maybe after Christmas, and again, if injuries occur and stuff like that, I can see that definitely.
It's mad, isn't it, that it's like, even within like this sort of, everyone at United is hyper talented, like the best in the country or thereabouts, and then you've got these certain players that just come along who just seem to be a different thing entirely to even their teammates. How hard is it to tell at this point? Because I know we've seen so many people with such great potential, but do you see something? I know you said about his consistency, but just like, do you just get the feeling that he's got it? Or is it more
straight away
that?
within say 5 minutes? I knew straight away. And after the session, what surprised me the most is, like he said, I felt rusty. He said, I felt rusty. I've been out for a while. He said, I think he's not played properly in a good while, or 6 months. He said, I just feel a little bit rusty. I feel like the more of this type of intense technical repetition, he said, I just feel like it could take me to the next level. So for him to identify that what I seen wasn't him at full capacity, I was thinking, okay, like what levels could you get to then? Because I don't know whether everyone's seen the video, and I think you know, the output and the variation is there for everyone to see. I know
you said you've seen him again at the weekend.
Yeah, this week, yeah.
Do you kind of like try and up what you're doing, or is it a case of the club are doing that and you're here to keep him sharp, or how do you kind of cycle it through like a program, or is it just a day by day thing?
I don't. Again, I get asked this quite a lot. I don't have any conversations with the club. Right. Obviously, the players come to me from an outside source. So again, I don't have any conversations with clubs or dialogue with the club. I just do what I feel is beneficial for the player. I'll study the player and I'll put a session on tailored to what I think would take them to the next level, and position related as well.
I love it. It's so good, isn't it, that he's like going out his way to do more and do extra, and I think it gives me the feeling that he thinks he's got that like potential to him as well, but like you said, without it being like, yeah, I'm the shit, I score every week. He's doing it the right way, and he's putting his excitement and confidence in himself back into himself with doing more. Like I love seeing that. Yeah,
that's my only worry with players like that, is obviously injuries, or you know, have they got the right sort of maturity levels?
I think he's managed properly in terms of, you know, dropping him in, dropping him out. I just, you know, I don't want to be thrown in the deep end and where you go right, because there's a lot of obviously expectation on him. There's a lot of talk around him. So I feel like if he's managed properly, and again, you know, you judged on performances. So what he's doing for the 18s he's off the charts. So obviously as a football club, it's in their best interest to develop their players the best that they can, and don't hold him back as well, but at the same time manage him. I think it's very important.
You've worked with Elanga, haven't you?
Yeah.
He was a player for me. I don't think he was managed very well at United.
I agree, yeah.
But there was this sort of spell where you remember the game against Leeds and the game against Atletico Madrid, he got some goals, and it was like, he's doing really well, and then it was like, he was played every week.
He's played at wing back by the end of his time.
Yeah, and he just looked like a lad striker. To me. You got the impression he was losing a little bit of his confidence, and that it wasn't a great time for the team. Ralph Rangnick was struggling, and I get that, you go like, okay, who are the players who are going to give me the role? He was one of them. I understand all that, but I just don't feel like he was managed. And then he went through this spell where he was just getting like 30 seconds at the end of a game, a minute, and it was just like, there's a player there that I'm not saying he definitely would have made it United or whatever, but it wasn't handled the best way, I feel.
Anthony was, and again I still speak to him now, like he's another one. When I first seen him, I was like, this lad's like got a bit left, right, explosive, 1v1 stuff, so quick, so powerful, had the variations and combinations of skills, tricks, but he had the end product. And then I see it where he breaks in, he does really well, scores last minute against Wolves, and he's starting to do well in the Leeds game. Next minute he's playing at wing back. He's not a wing back, you know what I mean? Like, just manage your plays. But maybe at that time that was the way the club was, and he probably needed to do that, which is great for the team. But for his own development, it probably killed him at United. But again, he's gone on to Forest. I know he's not really playing a lot at the moment, but he's done well since he's gone there.
I think was it Newcastle wanted him for quite a bit,
50 million, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, cheers, mate.
Hey,
I love that you're doing that, and hopefully, like you said, the more you see him, the more you can sort of.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited by it. Obviously, it's a challenge for me, and that's what I love with my role is, taking these players on and developing them and trying to take them to that next level, because again, I'm part of that journey now, so that gives me great satisfaction. So brilliant. Up the RH.
Up the RH, yeah, no pressure. You just got, the saviour of our club.
Absolutely.
Right, have a nice night, lads.
Yeah, have a nice night.